Hello everybody, Cooper here, and welcome back to another episode of Youth to Gold here on Cricket Captain 2024. Hope you're all doing very well today. It is the end of Season 2. We are going to do a quick review of basically the last season, how it's all played out. Going to go over some stats and of course do our recruitment for this year. We're going to have a quick scout of basically the league table. We finished in 5th with Northamptonshire in our first season in Division 1. So, I mean, middle of the park, not too bad after finishing in the top of Division 2 last season. In the one-day cup, we made the quarterfinal after finishing in 2nd. I was going to say we topped our group, but no, we finished in 2nd. So we couldn't quite get past our good point of last year. So we yet to win a final in the one-day cup, which is a little unfortunate. But in the blast, we were even worse. We got knocked out in the quarterfinal again after topping the group and dominating the group stage, which was really disappointing. But the big turnaround this season was in the 100, where the Manchester Originals go from last to first, only losing the one game in a very successful tournament. I had a great time of this one. In terms of the statistics and all of that, we are going to leave that to Future Cooper. Future Cooper, insert yourself here now and explain yourself. Thank you, past me, for that beautiful introduction. Now, welcome back to the Ultimate Cricket Captain 2024 dashboard created by Rob. I will leave his channel in the description below. As I've mentioned before on this channel, it's a neat little feature that he has going on his channel. He uses it quite a bit in his videos, and he has given me access to use it here for you today. Now we are going to start off by having a look just at Northamptonshire in this portion, because as some of the data that I want to have a look at, I haven't accumulated enough data for the Manchester Originals to be featured in this portion of the video. Now we're looking at basically all formats. We're going to be looking at the batting stats first to see who has done the best job with the bat for Northamptonshire across approximately 75 games over the course of 2 seasons. Now we can see that Follett has scored the most runs. That is not entirely surprising. What is surprising that his average is only 43.6 across the 3 formats. We can see if we sort actually by the highest average, you can see that Ollie Davies has the highest average at 61.09. Higgins is second at 53.7. And Follett is in third, with Flintoff not far behind in 4th. And if we scroll a little bit further down, we can have a look at sort of the batting average versus strike rate, which basically, if you're over this side of the graph, means that you've got a high average while also having a reasonable strike rate. The lower the strike rate and the lower the average, you're in the bottom corner. You don't want to be in the bottom corner. These guys in the middle, mainly just T20 players, but ideally you sort of want to be over here, which Follett, Higgins and Davies are. Flintoff's strike rate is a little bit higher than these guys, but does have a lower average as seen on this graph. Strike rate versus per balls out is basically the longer you stay in, the longer you are on this side of the graph. Higher the strike rate, higher on this end of the graph. We can see that Davies spends the most balls at the crease before getting out. I dare say this is just due to his time in first class cricket, where you've got guys like, similarly on the other graph, Bapara and Raza at the top of the graph there. And as we get into format record, unfortunately there isn't a tab here to sort by format record, but if I just simply click by match format, we can see that Follett again has the most first class runs. Vasconcelos in second with an average of only 35, which seems high considering some of the innings that he has played. Only has the 200s to his name, but 8 half centuries, not too bad. Ollie Davies in third, but remember he's only played the 1 season, whereas Vasconcelos has played 2. David Willey had a really good second season in first class cricket. It's really bolstered up his performance there. He's actually got 300s, benefited with that big 253 that he did score. Higgins only played the 14 first class games. Obviously, he only came in halfway through the first season, but he's got an average of 56, for Northamptonshire, very healthy. And then we're getting into some of the other guys down further down this list that have only played basically a season or less. Now that we get into the bowling, we can see that George Scrimshaw still holds the belt for the most wickets for the club at 118 wickets over 2 seasons. Bannister is behind him, does have a lower bowling average, but the strike rate that George Scrimshaw has is just phenomenal. And obviously the economy, he was quite high in first class cricket, but was really good in limited overs cricket. Bannister, more economical in first class cricket, but also did struggle to get wickets in, I think it might have been one-day cricket for us. Alex Russell only played the one season, but 105 wickets in that season was exceptional. Harry Armstrong, 82 wickets in his first go-around was pretty good. Minto, Willie, Sanderson, Siddle, all big names here for us. And I also want to quickly have a look at some of the records that have been set by other players in this game so far, or in this series so far, I should say. Follett's 336 not out versus Hampshire is the highest score in any format so far in this series. Joe Root's got a 309 in a test match against New Zealand to his name. Strike rate of 85 in that was very impressive. Ollie Davies almost became the third player to score a triple century, finished 296 not out. Kane Williamson had a 290, just missed out. And there's a few other high 250 plus scores here. Bowling records, I can't remember if I went over this last season, but Hasaranga had 8 for 9 in a World Cup game against Nepal. That was astounding. Shaheen Sharafridi has an 8 for 44 in the county championship, albeit in Division 2. Peter from South Africa has an 8 for 68, as does Ben Curry, also has 8 for 68, and then Scrimshaw on the final day of the season, last season, had 8 for 72. Now we're going to have a quick look at the domestic tables, just comparing where we stood from this season or compared to last season as well. And we can see in Division 2, we won Division 2 in the county championship last season, going 10 wins, 4 losses. We compare that in Division 1, 6 wins, 5 losses and 3 draws. Not too bad. We actually got more batting points this season, but overall finished with less points, obviously just because we won less games. So I believe how this works is this is our county championship finish. We finished 11th essentially in season 1. Obviously that's out of 18 teams, I think it is. And then that's actually the Royal London Cup. In season 2, I don't know why there's a big line here, but we finished in 5th over the course of those 18 teams in season 2. We won the Royal London Cup. Actually, that's not true. We finished top of the group in the Royal London Cup last season and then finished in 2nd this past season. So that's probably our most consistent group, I suppose it is. And then in the Blast, we finished 3rd in our group in the last season, but we won that last season and then finished in 1st, but obviously got knocked out, which wasn't ideal. But in terms of by format, we can see our best win percentage, as I said, was in the Royal London Cup. 13 wins and 3 losses so far. There's no batting points or anything like that in that competition. It says we have 2 wooden spoons, which I don't know why that would be the case, but I suppose because we didn't win that competition, I don't know. But the T20 Blast, 60% of the time we're winning games, which is good, but we've only got the 1 title to our name. And in the county championship, 16 wins, 9 losses, 3 draws. 57% win percentage isn't too bad, but obviously we would like that to increase as seasons go by. Performance metrics here, as is, just basically details how we went each season in each competition. Points total, we got a total of 245 points last season. Compare that to 223 this year. So in the grand scheme of things, we're actually worse this season compared to last season. But I think we did advance our squad sort of compared to where we were at the start of this season to where we are now. Essentially, points distribution, that's just going to be basically where the points added up in each of the competitions. And in terms of the current rankings, we've got a 64% win percentage over the course of all the clubs. And if we actually have a look and take that, well, that's too far. we want to have a look at every club in England. We can see that we're actually second, just behind Nottinghamshire, who have won 85% of their games, which is actually quite impressive. It says their overall win percentage is 51%, whereas ours is 64%. So I'm not sure if that's a bit of an error, but they are doing very, very well. Next bit of this video is the PCA Player of the Year Awards, Team of the Year, and the International Awards as well. We've done a little bit of a breakdown for each of the best performances. You can see on screen here in this little text document. I've tried to outline it as best I can. I don't know why there's a little, actually that's just where my key is. So we'll try and move that out of the way. But as you can see, the most first-class runs this year, Ollie Davies at just over 1,400 runs. Less than Follett, but a more impressive, basically, average than last season. Brad Curry, 93 wickets for Sussex. Absolutely crushed Scrimshaw's effort from last season. Tom Moores was lower in the dismissals. Craig Overton got more outfield catches and some of the best figures we've already detailed. Keaton Jennings actually got the most runs in the Metrobank One Day Cup. Jim Rampling got the most wickets, which was very good. Another leg spinner getting that award after Alex Russell got it last season. The Duke, Harry Duke, got 11 catches and 3 stumpings. And then Zach Lyon Cachet, 9 catches for Sussex. In the T20 Blast, Rocky Flintoff, 566 runs, led the way at 37.73, trails by quite a distance behind James Vince from last season. Baz Dalid, 33 wickets at 13.67 was very good. Vasconcelos and Minto led the way for the dismissals and catches respectively. And then in the 100, Joe Root got the most runs. Ben Green, for the second consecutive year, got the most wickets. And I believe that is actually the only repeat award winner so far. For whatever reason, I haven't put in the fielding stats for this season. So I'm going to try and put that in by the start of next off season. And then in the 100, the highest score obviously was Will Smead's 150. Ben Green, 5 for 27, got the best figures. And if we have a look at the Player of the Year, I decided to give that to, I think it's George Balderson. If I remember correctly, across all formats, 1,700 runs at 40.32 and 83 wickets at 31.04. Even though he was playing for Glamorgan, who is probably the worst team in the game, I would say. Young Player of the Year. And in terms of the Young Player of the Year, I've decided to give that to our middle order, basically legend, John Higgins, one of our best youth players on our squad. Essentially, he was the best youth player from last season that played the most amount of domestic cricket, because in all honesty, I do think that, if I can remember his name, our fast bowler, Bannister. I don't know why I always forget Bannister's name, but to be perfectly honest, Bannister just didn't play enough domestic cricket, hence why I've given it to Higgins. And I also think that Higgins just performed best at domestic level out of all the youngest players in the game. Team of the Year for the County Championship, we've got Follett as an opener this time, being his second year of the row that he's made the County Championship Team of the Year. Pathum Nasanka, who I believe is, in terms of average, he was the best batsman this season, didn't get the most runs, but was exceptional. I think he only played about 10 games. Ollie Davies played a few more than that. Nasanka is also going to be the captain of this team. Ollie Davies batting at 3, Bettingham at 4. I thought about giving him the gloves as our wicketkeeper, but I decided to pick a specialist wicketkeeper instead. Joe Jacklin, he's another youth player from last season. He's playing for Surrey. He would have been the other player that I considered for Young Player of the Year, but I decided to go in a different direction. Big Boy Paul, 899 runs at 42, as well as 50 wickets at 27. He's going to be batting at 6. Ollie Robinson at 7, 846 runs at 35. Not bad for a wicketkeeper at all. I always struggle with this guy's name. Byers Swanepoel, I don't know, 451 runs at 22. 67 wickets at 23.42. He's going to be at 8. Jake Lintott, 62 wickets at 23. Bradley Curry, 93 wickets at 27. and then Jamie Porter, 86 wickets at 27 as well, make up the rest of the team. In terms of the One Day Cup, we've got Keaton Jennings, Pathum Nissanka as well, makes the starting lineup. George Balderson, who, as we mentioned, was the player of the year, he's going to be batting at 3 actually, 511 runs at 73, only got the 8 wickets in the One Day Cup. Kane Williamson going to be batting at 4, he's also going to be the captain. His teammate David Benningham's going to be batting at 5, the Duke, going to be our wicketkeeper batting at 6, Baz Dalid at 7, 234 runs at 33, also 19 wickets at 29. Very, very good. Lyndon James, very good all-rounder, going to be batting at 8. Martin Anderson, another all-rounder, batting at 9. Ben Mike, a lot of all-rounders in this team. I didn't realize I put in this many. And then another regen, Jim Rampling, 23 wickets at 19. 23 wickets at 19, I should say. Going to be rounding out the 11. In the Vitality Blast, we've got Rocky Flintoff, our leading scorer of the competition. George Balderson going to be opening up with him. Ollie Davies at 3, Higgins at 4. Actually, there's 2 Higgins in this team. So John Higgins at 4, Ryan Higgins at 5, Jack Davies as the wicketkeeper. Matthew Critchley for Essex is going to be batting at 7, Michael Neser at 8, Baz Dalid at 9, Saqib Mahmood and Jim Rampling again rounding out the 11. And then finally, the 100 team of the year, Will Smead, 331 runs for the Manchester Originals. Joe Clark, going to be the other opener. He's going to be the wicketkeeper. Joe Root's going to be batting at 3 as the captain. John Higgins at 4. Dawid Malan at 5. Outstanding average for him, 319 runs at 79. Ben Stokes at 6. James Sales, who we let go last season, and he's gone on to be outstanding for the Southern Brave. Zach Fulks, another one of our players, batting at 8. Ben Green at 9. Ryan Higgins at 10. And then Josh Tongue, our fast bowler, at 11. That gets us to the ICC Awards, and the most test runs this year actually goes to Yashavi Jaiswal, 1,457 runs at 86, was outstanding. Kuldeep Yadav got the most wickets, 54 at 24. Jamie Smith, who actually got the most dismissals, which was quite funny, 21 catches and 5 stumpings from behind the wicket. And then Sarfaraz Khan got the most outfield catches with 19. Babar Azam got the most one-day runs at 966. And then Shaheen Sharafridi got 33 wickets at 24.15. Pakistan just dominating the limited overs stats this season. They were, I can't remember if there was it's not a World Cup year. I think there might have been a T20 World Cup. And I know that's why there was a lot of T20 runs scored. Shubman Gill led the way with almost 1,300 runs. Scoring at 48.69 is not bad at all. Shaheen Shah Afridi, 79 T20 wickets for Pakistan this year, and a bowling average of 12.58 was exceptional. Glenn Phillips got the most outfield catches, and Ramanala Gurbaz, I've never heard of you. 13 catches, but 13 stumpings. Not a bad effort by any means. Jonah Franks got the highest T20 score against Oman. Not too bad. And Zach Fulks, 5 for 12 against Bangladesh, is the best figures. And finally, we get into the individual awards. Yashavi Jaiswal is the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy holder for this season, also known as the ICC Men's Cricketer of the Year. Scored almost 700 more runs than last year's winner, Aidan Markram. But yeah, 2,822 runs at an average of 52.26 across all formats was absolutely outstanding. Test Cricketer of the Year was Yashavi Jaiswal, 1,457 runs at 86. Really good. Gus Atkinson, ODI Cricketer of the Year, 457 runs at 28, but also 53 wickets at 31.85. T20 Cricketer of the Year, I did think about giving it to Shaheen Shah Afridi, but then I saw the numbers of Rachin Ravindra for New Zealand, 836 runs at 25.81, but also 34 wickets at 33.79 was absolutely outstanding. And then the Emerging Cricketer of the Year is Farid Farhan Ahmed, excuse me. 32 runs, actually 32 wickets at 25.81 in Test cricket. ODI cricket, 30 wickets at 23.6, and then 27 wickets, just under 20 in T20s for England. If you wish to pause and have a look at the team of the year for each of the respective international formats, you are more than welcome to do so here. Thank you very much, Future Cooper, for your service to this video. Now, it is now time to head into the contracts portion of this video. We're going to continue forward. We can see that, obviously, we just said that we won the 100, which was great. Here are the top performers in each of the respective competitions. If you wish to pause and have a look, please do. We've been offered the England job after 2 seasons. I feel like this is a little bit early for us, so I'm going to say no for now, mainly because I don't want to do it. Not that I don't want to do it. Obviously, the whole point of the series is that we will get the England job at some point, but I want to spend more time developing the young players that we do have, so when we get to England, we are going to be better off. Now, contract time, and Sanderson has retired from Northamptonshire. One of our original players we're going to say farewell to, and it looks like Peter Siddle hasn't retired, so we may be in a position to bring him back next season, although I don't think I will. First order of business is the contract renewals before we bring in new players. Ollie Davies is at the top of the list. We have to bring him back. It's a non-negotiable. He's not going to be available 20% of the time. I dare say that's just for international duty, but considering the season he had last year, we have to bring him back. Ian Foyle, we are going to bring back. It's a 1-year deal, just under 20 grand a season. He wasn't very good last year, but does have potential, and in the grand scheme of things, we have $720,000 to spend. Less than 20,000 of that is not a big hit to our wallet, basically. Finn Allen and Pot Guider, who were 2 of our T20 players from last season, they are going to go. Zach Fulks, who was the other one, he is going to stay. He was awesome. Shinaka, our reserve player, was going to leave. Ollie Sykes, who was okay in the role that he played. He played 11 games, batting average of 25 in first class cricket. Bowling wasn't too bad, but could be a little bit better. If we can get some more games into him, I think he could be just a good squad player for the future. So we'll offer him a 1-year deal. Minto was a real breakout player for us. 42 wickets at 30. Decent economy, wasn't good in the 1-dayers, but was very good in T20 cricket. We'll obviously look to bring him back. Siddle, I think I'll release for now, but it is farewell to 2 of our original players, Vasconcelos, who captained the side this year, and Zabe. Goodbye, my friends. Last player we're going to bring back is Gareth Markham, our wicketkeeper for the future. He's 17 years old. He's just had a birthday. When did he turn 17? On the 23rd of September. He's got a lot of cricket to play. He wasn't very good in first class cricket in terms of his batting. His glove work was really good, but in the 1-dayers is where he starred. And in terms of our current squad, I can see that David Willey is the only original player left in terms of players that I didn't actually sign myself. And I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. Higgins and Bannister now have England contracts. So hopefully that is a sign of things to come for other players in our squad. And if we have a look at our current budget with all the contracts we have now signed, we have $545,000 to spend on a minimum of 7 players, so we can afford to be throw a bit of money around. Obviously, we've got to, still follow the rules in terms of youth to gold. And there's already a name on screen that I want to have a look at. I think it's Tim Copperfield. Yes, he played for Worcestershire, I believe, last season. He came in at the end of the first season as a youth player. Hasn't played any T20 cricket. I mean, he's very defensive, so that makes sense. Averages 33 in first class, but 47 in 1-dayers. I believe his 3-day stuff is pretty good. Yeah, the T20s isn't good, but in the second 11, his first class and 1-dayers is pretty good. We're going to offer him a 3-year deal because we need mid-order batsmen. In terms of the other youth players available straight out of this year's batch, the only one that I'm particularly interested in signing is this guy, Anthony Milligan. 30 wickets in your first six first-class games is really good. Averages 21 in the second 11. He's only 18 years of age. We're actually pretty good for fast bowlers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of regular fast bowlers. Well, when I say regular fast bowlers, sort of young fast bowlers. Obviously, Bannister's going to be away a lot, so it wouldn't actually hurt to sign Anthony Milligan. We might actually give him a 2-year deal, because I think with some of the other guys that we have on our side, you know, Martin, let's just see how they compare. Langridge averages 24, Martin averages 27, Minto averages 31. So yeah, both of them are very, very good, or all of them are very good. But compared to, if we have a look at Milligan, yeah, just under 22. So he's going to be very, very good based on those comparisons. And there's 2 players here who I want to have a look at. The top of this list, David Gray, is a player I would absolutely sign if he wasn't 22 years of age. That is just terrible, terrible news. And then Robin as well. Kurt Robin up here. Looks like he's had a pretty good start to his career as well, but unfortunately, they are over the age limit. And this last one is sort of a bit of a novelty signing. It is that of Archie Vaughan, the son of former England captain Michael Vaughan. I know we sort of did this last year with Rocky Flintoff, but Vaughan is probably more of a novelty signing than Flintoff. I doubt he'll play all that much, because you can look at his numbers here. They're not all that great. We would need to train him a lot to sort of make anything of him. But I think just as a nice squad option, he can just stick around and be a good guy to have on the team. I haven't looked at any of the overseas players yet, but I think this is a good start for the players that we want to sign. Now, for the second round of signings, I can see another novelty signing I want to make. It is Jaden Denley, I think it's actually the nephew of Joe Denley, former England Test cricketer. He's a left-hand opening batsman, all-rounder, slow left armour. Yet to play first-class cricket. Let's actually have a look at his second 11 stats. They're not terrible. Not at least as terrible as Archie Vaughan, but we might wait on him. I think if there's other players we need to prioritise here. Let's go back to the youth players. Andrew Dillon is here. He's yet to play any first class. He's actually yet to play any cricket. His numbers are not jumping out at me, so we might just leave that for now. I reckon we wait on all of these bowlers as well. Mark Perham, very good one-day bowler, but nothing there. I think this might be where we go to the overseas players and just have a look at what we need. I can already see that Virat Kohli's here and available. That is quite funny. But in terms of our squad, we've got 2 opening batsmen, which is great. Markham can probably be trained to be an opening batsman, because I know that Vasconcelos was previously there. He's currently a first-class number 4, but is already an opener in T20 and one-day cricket, so we might actually train him there should we need another one. We need another wicket-keeper. I think we're fine for bowlers, honestly. So I think opening bats and wicket-keepers will be the priority here. So maybe Denley actually isn't a bad option as a signing here. But if we just have a look around, Steve Smith is here, only available 80% of the time. Nasank is here, who had a very good season last season. I reckon we sign Josh Inglis as a reserve player if I can find his reserve contract. I don't think he's going to accept that deal straight away. He's asking for about 45,000, but he's 30 years of age. He's got a pretty good record in all formats. Obviously yet to play Test cricket, unlike he has in real life. He made a very good 100 on debut, but that is just something to keep an eye on. I'll sit on that deal for now because I don't know if I can find a better one is the only thing. I'm actually going to sign Denley to a 3-year deal. Kent's in for him for 18,500. I'm just going to flex my financial power and go up to 23.5 just to outbid Kent. I've seen that Will Smeed is here. I know he's over the age of 23, but he's retired from from Red Ball cricket. So I feel like No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to break my rules. I'm not going to break my rules. I'm going to keep looking around. I don't really need all-rounders. Although Will Smeed is tempting to play as a white ball only player. I think I will sign Steve Smith actually as our other main overseas player. We've got 2 spots left. And although realistically he's not an opening batsman, we might just have him there to play as one if we need it. He's actually a one-day opener as well, which is quite interesting. Number 3 in T20 cricket. But if we do sign him, I'll in all likelihood still open with Follett and Flintoff and probably bat him at whatever position I feel like I need to, because he's just good enough to do that. And in terms of our last offer, we might go a T20 player here. Let's just see, have a look at T20 cricket. We might go an all-rounder here. Just because he's too good to pass up on, I'm going to go Virat for my T20 player. He's away for the IPL, which, you know, is at the start of the season for us, so it doesn't even matter that great of a deal. We're going to offer him $35,000, which seems really cheap for Virat Kohli, because in real life he would cost a load of money. Josh Inglis declined his contract as expected. Steve Smith and Virat sign. We've got 3 international spots left. We've already offered 1 to Inglis, so we really only have 2 left, and we've got plenty of money to play with. And in terms of our under 9 or our under 20 players, we might go, well, I reckon we can come back for these guys, but we'll stick to the overseas players for now. Let's go first class cricket. What more do we need? We still haven't addressed the wicketkeeper issue. I know Inglis is going to come in as a reserve, but I would like to get, maybe, or Bettingham would be quite good. He's had a really good last couple of years in first class cricket, averaging over 45. He's a good wicketkeeper. We could play around with that. Finn Allen, not really designed for first class cricket. I think Bettingham's the move. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to make him my main, or my last main overseas player. We're going to round that up to 50k. What do we need? Another all-rounder wouldn't hurt. We could go all-rounder here for T20s. Aaron Hardy's tempting. Glenn Maxwell is always good, but he's away a lot of the time. Marco Jansen. I think Glenn Maxwell's the pick. He is only away for the IPL at the start of the season, and I don't think he's going to get called up to play for Australia at any point. He's played a combined 2 internationals in the last 2 seasons. He's 36 years of age, and I think as a T20 player, that is fine. We're going to send those offers out. Inglis is still not interested. That is fine. Bettingham and Maxwell do sign. Apart from our reserve overseas player, which I'm hoping Inglis will sign in the next couple of rounds, we have covered all of our overseas players, which is great. Now, there was one other player here, which I think was the all-rounder. Yes, Kelly. Dominic Kelly. He doesn't really have a good record, but just to prop up the numbers a little bit on our roster, we are going to sign him up. And in terms of the youth players, Beasley is there. Bowling average of 24, 19 years of age. One-day record isn't all that great. I could sign Lucas just for the sake of it, but I'm not going to. We're going to go Liam Beasley for a 1-year deal. Inglis signs in the end. Kelly signs. Beasley signs. Let's just sign. Not Bloom. Let's just sign Lucas. Give him a 1-year deal. It's not going to cause any harm. We've got plenty of money to play with. There are no other eligible players for me to sign. I think we're done. It's now time to sign contracts for the Manchester Originals. We need to keep repeating as champions if we want to complete the challenge. And first and foremost, I'm going to sign Zach Fulks because he is incredible. 1-year deal just to come back for us. And if I look at the rest of this list, to be perfectly honest, if we break it down player by player, Phil Salt, 79 grand, we can do better than that for what he provides. He's 29 now. I'm quite happy to let him go. Pot Guider, I'm happy to let go. 73,000 can be spent elsewhere. Pollard's 38. He's only going to get worse. Josh Tongue was very good for us, I have to admit, but I'm also looking to upgrade every single position so we can be as good as possible. And Dom Bess and Langridge didn't play for us last season, so I'm happy to let them go. Holden, at the top of our list. He's only got 1 year left on his deal for next season. So I'm actually going to terminate his contract because we need to fill up some roster spots, or free up some roster spots, I should say, to let us sign more players and raise some more funds. Higgins can stay. Smeed's going to stay. Butler's an icon player, so I can't get rid of him even if I wanted to. Jamie Smith's going to stay at 31,000. That's great value. Paul Walter's going to stay. Brooks didn't actually play for us last year, but he's young enough that if we keep him on the books, he can still develop. So we'll see how he goes until the end of his contract. Hartley's going to stay. Klassen, I'm actually going to terminate as well. I think he's also got 1 year left. And then Ahmed and Bannister can stay put as well. Okay, we have reached the next phase of the recruitment. And it's literally the recruitment. That's literally it. That's why we're here. And we need to look down the list to see who is available. Laurie Evans, I feel like he's been around forever. 37 years of age, 41k is actually kind of cheap. Gus Miller, one of our former players, we're not going to sign. David Gray, who just signed a contract. He was one of the youth players from Worcestershire. We're actually going to give him a deal. He is exceptional. I've frozen the game. No, I have. Oop, yes, I have. 68 average in 3 days. Second 11 in 1 day is 51. 2020, it's 33. He's excellent. We're going to sign him up for $105,000 a season. I just want to make sure he signs. So I'm willing to pay extra because, yes, he's a wicket keeper, but I'm really just going to sign him as a batsman. That's really just how I'm going to use him. And I think he's a good upgrade over Phil Salt. He's a lot younger, and I think he fills all of our needs. Will Jacks is here, which is very tempting. I have a bit of a history with Will Jacks. If you know my previous cricket captain series I've done, which might have been on Cricket Captain 23, I think it actually was, when I was in South Africa, he was a big part of that series. So maybe for sentimental reasons, we might sign him. Milligan is here, who we just signed for Northamptonshire as well. But we need middle order players. We need fast bowlers, because if we look at the current state of the squad, we've only got one specialist fast bowler, and that's Bannister. So we need to be getting another one of those. Getting another opening batsman wouldn't be too bad, because obviously Smeed and Butler are there. So maybe getting Will Jacks actually isn't so bad of an idea, to be honest, because he actually fills that need. Gray's going to be a middle order player for us. So maybe if we bat Jacks at like 5, I feel like he could be really good. And Jacks at $100,000 a season, I think that is a good investment. 3-year deal. We've spent almost half our budget on 2 players. Fantastic. I think we can get Milligan a little bit later, so I'm going to wait on him for now. I'm going to head into the overseas players, because there's one player I have in mind. I saw him before when I was looking at the Northamptonshire side, and there he is, Marco Jansen. I think he is going to be perfect alongside Bannister to lead this fast bowling lineup. Yes, he's expensive, but you know what? He's probably going to be worth it. So we've spent $290,000 on... No, we haven't spent $290,000 yet on 3 players. We are going to go 105,000. Hopefully that'll work for Will Jacks. We've got $183,000 left. Let's have a look at what is available for everybody else. We don't need another wicketkeeper. We can skip by those guys. Will Jacks is obviously here. Tom Curran as a fast bowling option. Played in the Big Bash for a bit, so I know a little bit about his work. I think he was playing for the Sixers. Yeah, the Sixers. He was pretty good for the Sixers as well. Milligan is still here, so we'll give him a 2-year deal. I think that's fine. And we have one other overseas player that I saw before, and that's Ajit Hills. He has a fantastic record. Just 20 years old, so I'm assuming he's a regen, or a new gen, I should say. And yeah, 45 average at T20 cricket is exceptional. He's going to play in the middle order for us. I still haven't really addressed the fast bowling issue. Yes, I've got Milligan, Jansen, and Bannister, but we still need more. More fast bowlers, please. That would be great. Jack signs, Milligan signs, Hills signs. Our overseas requirement has been filled. We've got 100 grand to spend on 3 players. Our opening needs have been addressed. We've got our all-rounders. Let's just focus on the fast bowlers for now. Josh Tongue is still here, so we can bring him back for 1 year. I think we'll do that. It's the lost Follett brother, Jacob Follett. Has a really good record for Hampshire, although I don't really want to go in that direction. What about in the all-rounders? Have we got anything here? Not really. So we could go the long-lost Follett brother. That could be something we do. Lintott is here. Well, he's a spinner, though. That's the only thing. Mark Wood will go for a 1-year deal. I don't know how much financial flexibility that'll leave us. 28,000. We could bring back Langridge. That could be something we do. We could go in a different direction. Who's Fanning? Plays for Sussex. Not good in one-day cricket. We'll go for Langridge. We know what he's like. We'll sign him for a 1-year deal. And worst case scenario is we can release him at a later date. We might just pump up these offers just to make sure everybody signs. I think we're going to be fine. And I think this is going to be the squad. Yep, that is it. We are all done with signing players. I like the look of both of our sides. We're going to have a quick scout before we continue into simulating the off-season. But first and foremost, with Northamptonshire, our batting is absolutely spectacular. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys averaging over 50. Obviously, Coley's a T20 specialist, well, for his contract at least. But potentially having 4 guys in our top 5 average 50, that is really special. I mean, Bettingham averages 48, so he's not too far behind either. But I think we're going to be really, really good. The bowling, we've got, what's his face? Bannister, who's really good. Milligan, I'm hoping he can have a good season for us. But we're going to need a lot of wickets out of our spinners, I think, because the fast bowling, we've got a lot of them, but they're all really, really young and not that experienced. So we're sort of quite a batting-heavy side. So maybe going into the next recruitment phase or next year's recruitment, next off season, we might look at getting some more bowlers, and just we'll quickly look at the Manchester Originals as well. I think it's sort of the opposite with these guys. We've got a lot of experienced T20 bowlers. We've got Farhan Ahmed. I mean, he's 17, but he's experienced. Bannister, who's played a lot of T20 cricket. Mark Wood, Josh Tongue have both played for England. Marco Janssen, international quality, as is Fulks. Will Jacks, handy little spinner, but more of a batsman, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, really happy with both of our teams. I'm going to simulate forward, do a little bit of the off-season coaching. We'll go from there. Would I like to manage the off-season? Yes, of course I would. Can we do our coaching and physio now? We can. We don't have to wait until I press continue. What do I want to work on this off-season? Well, Kelly's injured, so I can't do anything with him, unfortunately. I want to continue developing not so much Higgins and Bannister, but just the guys who are sort of the next tier below. I know Follett's got a really good first-class record, but his limited overs stuff isn't that great compared to his first-class stuff. So that might be something we work on, is making him a bit more of a one-day accumulator, not so much of a hitter. That might be something we do. Flintoff, I mean, he's only played the 1 season of first-class cricket. Still got the 809 runs, which is great, but we could definitely get a bit more out of him in limited overs cricket. So I think for him, we can't make him more aggressive. I think we've already maxed that out. So we might go boundary hitting for him. I'm not going to assign anything to Higgins and Bannister just because I'm assuming they'll get called up for international duty. Copperfield, I think I don't really want to work on his aggression or anything because that's kind of who he is. But maybe if we just actually make him more of a defensive, he's actually improved his defense to the limit. Maybe just send him to general technique. We might just do that. I think that's fine because I think he's a really quality number 3. I think just with his defensive attributes, him coming in at first drop, he's an opener in T20 cricket, but he probably won't play T20 cricket just because we have better options. Davies, because he's an overseas player, I'm probably not going to touch him at this stage. Denley, I mean, he's more of a batting all-rounder than a bowling all-rounder, although he is listed as an opener. We could probably just get him to work on just his general technique as a batsman. I think that's going to be the way to go. Whereas with Vaughan, I think he's going to be more of a bowler. So I don't know why I clicked on batting. We're going to get him to work on his aggressive bowling. So I want our bowlers to be kind of real strike bowlers. So all of the bowlers I'm going to give training to, I'm going to give them bowling aggression. Armstrong's apparently increased that to the limit. Whereas with the one-day stuff, we're going to send him to defensive bowling in the one-day stuff. Same with Brownlow. We're going to send him to defensive because I think Brownlow might actually just be a limited over specialist. Sort of how Copperfield doesn't play T20 cricket, Brownlow's not going to play first class cricket, which does leave us a little thin in the spin department, but that means we could give games to Vaughan and Denley and players of the like. Minto, again, we're going to go aggressive bowling. Langridge, same deal. Or actually, we're going to go Langridge. I think that's the way to go. Actually, no, we don't need to. We're going to go give it to Martin instead. No, we're not. He's already maxed out as well. Who's the better between Beasley and Lucas? It's going to be Beasley. I forgot to take it off of Martin. Excuse me. That's not what I wanted to do. We're going to give it to Beasley there. And then with the physio, I want to focus the physio on Vaughan and Milligan, Denley and Copperfield is I think what I want to focus the physio on. And then Markham, I'm just going to send him to catching and keeping. That's fine. And we're going to do the same with... We'll send Sykes to ground fielding. Why not? And that is the off-season now done. We head into 2026 and we've actually got a university match to start. Next episode, we can see that Maxwell, Kohli and Bannister have all been selected to play in the IPL. We weren't expecting Bannister to get called up, but Maxwell and Kohli, we were aware about that. So not too surprising, obviously a little bit disappointing to have Bannister away, but there's nothing we can do about that right now. But that will be the end of today. Start of next episode, we'll do the university match up against Loughborough? I don't know how to pronounce that, unfortunately. And then the start of Season 3 in the County Championship as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I know this was a bit of a longer one, and I do appreciate you hanging around until the end. Until next time, I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys then. Bye!